You have this Mamba mentality. Your book's coming out soon, and how did you develop this? There's a beautiful story that I love from Jay Williams. I don't know if you remember Jason Williams, where he did an interview a while back, and he talked about how when he played you, I think the first time, or one of the first times he played against you, he was like, I'm going to show up so early to the court to warm up and practice like before anyone. And he shows up at the court. I don't know if it was in LA or where it was, and you were the only one there, already shooting free throws, already doing your fundamentals. And he goes, I'm going to stay here until Kobe leaves. And then he was like, gosh, an hour and a half, 2 hours later,
I got to go.
I'm tired. And Kobe's still shooting free throws, scoring, like just going over the fundamentals. And he goes, and then we played that game and you were lights out. And he came up to you afterwards and said, like, dude, why were you in there for so long? And how'd you do it? And he said, this is what he said, you said, I knew you were watching and I wanted to show you that I was willing to outwork you. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
I remember it.
You remember,
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was so powerful that you have this mindset, but how did you develop that? I don't know if that's what you call the Mamba mindset, but how did you develop that? And when did it start?
It started in middle school and high school, because a lot of the kids that I was playing against were inner city kids. And so you're looking at me as if, okay, this kid's soft, right? He's from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His father played in the NBA, played professionally.
He's got it easy.
Born on second, all this other stuff, right? And so they felt like they could try to be physical or try to intimidate me and do all this other stuff, which they couldn't, right? But now I'm saying, okay, well, you're trying to attack me. How am I going to attack you? How can I mentally figure out ways to break you down? How can I show you that, no, I have the edge, right? And so that's when it first started for me, is figuring out how to get the upper hand on an opponent that way.
And what would you do to mentally break people down then?
Well, I mean, we used to have an All-American camp that I used to go to, and at the time when I first showed up, I was a sophomore, and one of the things I would do is while everybody would be at the cafeteria, eating and doing all sort of stuff, I'd just go back to the gym.
They'd be resting, eating.
And they'd see me leave, right? But now you're in a tough position because you're like, okay, I want to be like I'm following the kid to go work out, but I know he's working, he's up early, and he's doing all this other stuff. And so that was my way of showing them, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me. And I'm mentally going to.
Did someone teach you that? Was that just a thing that you decided, like, I'm going to get in people's minds?
I think it's just figuring out ways to be better and to win the game. And it started as a defense mechanism because they were the ones talking trash to me, and kid from Italy, blah blah blah, and all sorts of stuff. And it was like, okay, I can't let them. I got to defend myself here, right? And then it became, okay, I'm pretty witty. I can say some pretty witty things.
And in Italian.
And in Italian, yeah.